Hello, I'm Dr. Mikey Mewborn, and this is Church Ministry. It's so good to be with you today. Today we're looking at the topic, the mentor. Now, many of us have probably had mentors in our lives. Maybe it was a teacher in high school, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was somebody that we just saw that was very important to us, like an uncle or an aunt, or maybe it was somebody like a youth pastor or a pastor. Mentors come in all types of ways, and sometimes mentors don't even know that they're teaching us, but they are. And then we've also probably been a mentor ourselves to somebody that was maybe younger than us, or somebody that was just looking up to us in some ways. But however you look at a mentor, there are some key aspects to them that's very important when thinking about how it's done effectively. And we're going to look at some of those today throughout this lesson. It's good to be with you. Let's begin our study. Hello and welcome to Church Ministry. Today we're looking at a wonderful topic known as the mentor. Our outline notes are by Kenneth Gangle in his book, Team Leadership. It's good to be with you. Let's go ahead and jump into our study. I want to begin by looking at this person right here. This is Dr. Jay Strack. He is the president and founder of Student Leadership University. He is a dear mentor of mine, possibly the single greatest person in my life that has prompted me to do things that I never thought I could actually do. He taught me to dream big. He taught me to go and pursue things that I didn't think was even possible. He was the one who encouraged me to go to college. He's the person who helped me make decisions for myself and helped me understand what that means for me to make decisions. He taught me the importance of reading books and going to different places and those types of things. But in that journey that he took me on, it was a journey that he also has led many other students on in his organization called Student Leadership University. And so those people that you're going to find in your life that become a mentor to you, make sure that they're successful in what they're doing. Mentors are not just people that we say, hey, I'm going to look up to you. There's someone that we say, you're doing it correctly or you're doing it in a right way, and I want to kind of follow that model. I want to learn from you because I know that you've done it. And I think that's important. The thing that drew me to Dr. Jay Strack was the fact that he had done it and done it well. And I wanted to learn from who I considered at that time the best that I knew of. And so Dr. Jay Strack was that for me. And so you got to have mentors in your life. Now that I have a mentor in Jay Strack and had him for many years of my life, what I try to do is I pour into other people or try to coach them in ways that he has coached me because he's done such an excellent job with me along with other students as well. And so it's important to have mentors in your life. And I wanted to start out that way. Now, when we think about a mentor, we think about general qualifications of a mentor. Mentors must control their emotions. I love this because self-control is seen throughout the epistles. 1 Timothy and Titus especially repeat this phrase because of its importance within leadership. So it's a very big deal when we're thinking about what it means to be a leader. 1 Timothy chapter 3, Titus chapter 1, they talk strongly about pastoral leadership and what should a pastoral leader have? Self-control. It is vital. Also, emotions make wonderful slaves but terrible masters, Adrian Rogers said. I think this is important because when we think of our emotions, we don't shut off our emotions when we're in leadership. We never do that. Actually, they strengthen us. They should be strengthened, but they should also be under control. And so if they're not under control, then they'll lead us into areas that is not wise and will make some foolish mistakes very quickly. Don't let your emotions distract you from doing what needs to be done. Control your emotions or your emotions will control you. Kind of saying the same thing there that Dr. Adrian Rogers was saying, but this idea is don't let those emotions take over or distract you from the very purposes that God has called you to. So think about that when we're thinking through the whole idea of a mentor. Also, mentors must be good listeners. James 1:19 says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger." Luke 11:28 says, "But he said, Blessed rather are those who hear the word of God and keep it." The idea is that someone must listen more and talk less. The great mentors are the people that are willing to listen. They're the ones who can hear what others are saying. And what they're doing is they're going to take that and they're going to pour that into someone who's an apprentice or someone who's under them, learning from them. And they're going to help them to listen, but also to teach. And so it's kind of working both ways. Don't listen with the intent of answering, but with the intent of understanding. I think that is a wonderful quote. It teaches us a lot more about the importance of listening. Why does listening truly matter? Well, it matters because we need to understand what we're talking about, because if we don't understand it, then we're not going to do a good job relaying it to someone else or explaining it to someone else. And information becomes sterile or dry, or it becomes almost superficial. We don't want that to be the case. We want it to have a deep understanding, and communication, if it's done correctly, can pass on for generations. And so that's what we're looking for there. And we want mentors to continue to grow so that they continue to pour into other people. Another quote, listen more than you talk. Nobody learned anything by hearing themselves speak. Isn't that so true? If we're saying it, we already know it. So we don't learn during that time. So we need to listen more. Okay? Mentors must be friendly. True friends are empathetic, and just some words here to go over this, selfless, trustworthy, share interests, understand humor, and they're team players. Now think about a friend. Someone who's a friend is going to ask the tough questions, a friend who's going to be there during the tough times, a person that's going to share similar interests. They're going to understand you in different ways that you think, and they're going to be selfless toward you. It's not going to be all about what I get. It's going to be what can I give. And a mentor should have this mindset in them. This is a neat quote. A true friend accepts who you are, but also helps you become who you should be. That's the idea there, that we're all on this journey of learning and we're all growing. Now, a true friend is somebody who's going to let you know what areas in your life are not the best, or the areas in your life that are maybe a hindrance to you. And a good friend is going to come to you and say, this is holding you back, or this is not showing well when you go to these areas or when you speak in a certain way. And so a true friend will be there to help you become who you should be. And I think that's important. Also, mentors must learn to ask catalytic questions. Now, what are some examples of catalytic questions? What do you want to achieve for yourself, your team, and your company? Why is this goal important to you, your team, and the company? What difference will achieving your goals really make? Now, think about these questions because they're wonderful. And it's asking those tough things that a person needs to think about. A mentor is going to be a person who asks these types of questions. They're going to find out the person that they're pouring into, are they really getting it? Are they really seeing the value of all these types of things? And that's what's going to be what makes up a mentor. You know, we think about it in the game of Scrabble and what makes up the actual word mentor. But there's so much that makes this word up, and there's so much that makes up this person. They must be someone who can see the big picture and ask the right questions, and that's really good. Also, mentors must see things in total perspective. And I think that's that big picture mentality. Big picture thinkers broaden their outlook by striving to learn from every experience. They don't rest on their successes. They learn from them. John Maxwell has to say there. In Colossians 3, verses 1 and 2, it says, "If then you have been raised with Christ, seek things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on earth." Now, this is incredible because in Colossians, the Apostle Paul is trying to get the church of Colossus to see the big picture. And the big picture is Christ. The big picture is where Christ is seated, setting your mind on things above. Sometimes we hit this point in our lives where we say these types of phrases. And it's very harmful to our understanding of God. But we say these types of phrases. Don't be so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good. But the correct statement would really be you can't be any earthly good if you're not heavenly minded. That's really what's going on there. And so we need to be big picture thinkers. We need to think above and beyond what's going on just around us, but what's going on in the big scheme of things as a Christian leader, as a minister of the gospel, or someone who's working with a nonprofit or a church or whatever it might be. We need to be careful. To make sure that we are seeing things from a big picture view, seeing the forest and the trees. There's the phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees. It's almost as if one tree is right in front of you and you can't see the rest of the forest because of it. Well, that's a problem, because you got a whole forest that you can be looking at, but you can't see it because you're too wrapped up in one thing. And we need to be able to back up a little bit and get a bigger view of things. Mentors can do this very well, and they should do that very well. Mentors must resist the temptation to be only tellers. Mentors should pass the hot potato. I think that's a great phrase. You should be willing to say, hey, this is a hot potato, but I'm not going to protect somebody from it, the one that I'm pouring into. I'm going to actually hand it off to them, and they're going to have to deal with it too, and I think that that's really good. Let people learn for themselves. Let an apprentice learn for themselves. Mentors should avoid playing caretaker. Isn't that true? They shouldn't be the one that always protects and cares for and making sure everything is taken care of for an apprentice. They should be someone who's avoiding that and said, no, let them have it. Let them deal with the issues. Don't always come behind them with this damage control. Also, mentors should avoid taking responsibility for things of those that they're teaching. They need to be careful about that. Let that apprentice take on that responsibility. And that might be the difference between knowing and understanding opportunity and failure. All right. And then the process of Christian mentoring. I think this is great, and we've looked over these before. Be available. Be somebody who's available. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a text, maybe it's an email, whatever it might be. Just be willing to be that teacher, that mentor. Be credible. The things that you do in your life, it ought to be reputable. It ought to be things that you are who you say you are. You do what you say you do. You keep your word. Those types of things. Being credible. Then being ethical. Don't try to sneak around issues. Don't try to make something look better than it actually is. Don't try to lie about things. Be ethical. And that's very important when being a mentor. Be instructive. Be a person that helps teach another person, or maybe the next generation, or students or apprentices, what it really means to do something. And if it's starting a new ministry, if it's starting a new corporation or nonprofit, whatever it is, be instructive in that. Help them toward those things. Don't tell them, but instruct them. Give them ideas going forward. And then be committed. Be a person that's in it for the long haul. If you start a relationship with somebody and you say, I'm going to work with you through this process. I'm going to be a mentor with you through helping you through starting this new ministry, or you're launching something, whatever it might be. Be committed. Be in with that person. Be somebody that they can lean on and that they can rely on, especially as times are going to go in a tough way sometimes. All right? I think this is just wonderful in Colossians 3:17. Whatever you do, in word or in deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So whatever you do, Christian mentoring should be looked at with the utmost, not just integrity, but the idea of being godly and holy and righteous. In that whatever the mentor does, it should be in such a way that God is getting glory for it. It's done in Jesus' name, and it's all in giving thanks because God is the one bringing these things about. And so this should be very helpful for you when you think about the process of Christian mentoring. What does it mean to be this person? These are the types of people you should be looking for to mentor you, but also this is the type of person that you should be to mentor others, all right? Well, this has been the topic, the mentor. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson today. I know that I have. It's good to be with you. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye. All right, that concludes our study on The Mentor. It's been so good to be with you today. We've looked at a lot of different things. You also got to see one of my favorite mentors, Dr. Jay Strack, who was mentioned earlier in the lesson. Men like this have just poured into my life and have taught me a lot about helping others and pouring into other people. One of the greatest things I ever learned from Dr. Jay Strack was simply this: if you want to be successful in life, make everybody else around you successful. I think that's a wonderful quote and a wonderful idea to live by when we're thinking about what does it mean to be a great mentor to other people. Anyways, it's good to be with you today. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye.